CTV News with Matt Grillo.
Good evening. There are newly released figures from Santé Quebec. They show ER wait times went down slightly last year, but the number of hours patients are spending on stretchers is still high, especially at the Lakeshore General Hospital. Denise Roberts reports.
When it comes to emergency rooms, the Lakeshore General Hospital has a reputation for long waits.
We came here, it was horrible.
New figures from Santé Quebec show it has the highest average length of stay. Last year, patients waited an average of 30 hours and 54 minutes on a stretcher before being hospitalized or discharged, nearly double the provincial average.
It's not a surprise, especially with everyone still getting sick and people actually going to the ER where they don't need to, you know? So I think that plays a little bit of the part of the long wait times.
Every time I've come for the ER, I've been treated really, really well. I mean, yes, there's wait times. What can you do? The government did that.
Santé Quebec says there were fewer ER visits across the province last year, but those who did go were older. 46% of ER visits at Lakeshore were people over the age of 75. And that's a failure of primary care access, according to patients' rights advocate Paul Brunet.
The Minister of Health then, Mr. Dubé, had said 50% of patients ending up at emergency could be served and treated elsewhere. Where is the elsewhere option?
Despite its last place ranking, the regional health authority that oversees the Lakeshore says things are actually improving. That includes implementing contingency plans during periods of overcapacity, strengthening home care service, and adding a dedicated geriatric emergency team to reduce avoidable admissions and improve overall efficiency. Brunet says more home care visits could help, but it won't fix the staffing shortages that are putting pressure on the system.
Unfortunately, the numbers cannot allow us to conclude that we're doing better in terms of primary care because so many patients are still waiting.
Especially at the Lakeshore General ER. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Quebec's Court of Appeal has overturned a guilty verdict against a Montreal skating coach accused of sexual assault and gross indecency. Richard Gauthier was found guilty of both charges for assaulting a male skater in the 1980s who was 14 or 15 years old at the time. He was acquitted of a third count of indecent assault. He was sentenced to 12 months in jail in 2023. At the time, Quebec Court Judge José Bélanger said Gauthier deserved a harsh sentence due to the age of the victim and the position of authority he held. A Court of Appeal judge, Patrick Healy, overturned both charges and the sentence. Healy said there were many omissions and contradictions in the complainant's testimony. Montreal police say they are investigating an arson attack at a commercial residential building in St. Leonard. The fire was reported to police just after 4 a.m. on Jean Talon near Pontoise Street. The Montreal Fire Department brought it under control a short time later. Police say the fire was set in front of the entrance to the second floor apartments. None of the units were evacuated and there were no injuries. Well, the nice weather today has gardeners excited about the new planting season. But with a drop in temperatures coming, is it too early to dig in the dirt? Christine Long has more.
Urban Seedling Garden Center in Verdun is open for the season. Sean Manning says, plant your frost-resistant crops now, like kale and bok choy.
Itching to get into the ground. You plant these today, in a month, you'll be harvesting bok choy.
He says when the temperature drops, covering your garden at night will protect it.
It will give me a little buffer of about 3 degrees. It's called a floating row cover. It's like a little blanket for the veggies.
Manning says planting in the spring and again in the summer gets the most out of our growing season, no matter how big or small your garden is.
You might be gardening on a balcony. You may only have enough space for a bag or a small bed or a small box, or maybe you're doing something vertical. It's important to be able to maximize that as much as possible.
Beautiful spring bloomer, wild columbine.
Corinne Hagland of Jardin Buzz recommends indigenous plants because they're hardy and, like agastache, attract pollinators.
It's really tough. It grows like a champ. And the great thing about this plant is if you've got a vegetable garden, this is just going to welcome bees to your garden. So you're going to get even more productivity from your garden by planting Anise hyssop. So I recommend it. Agastache, it's a great one.
Cucumbers are up 43% year to year.
If the price of vegetables in the store has you planning a garden, be aware of the startup costs, says Sylvain Charlebois.
You want to commit to several years, because if you do it for 1 year, it becomes very expensive per tomato or per cucumber. But the other thing that people may want to consider are community gardens. Community gardens will offer you all the equipment you need.
Yet, community gardens are so popular. The City of Montreal's website says you can add your name to the waiting list of one location of your choice. Or you can hire Urban Seedling to start your garden for you.
I love gardening. I love eating. I love cooking.
A dip in temperature won't dampen that kind of joy. Christine Long, CTV News.
The NDP is pushing for a ban on a pricing model using artificial intelligence that could be making you pay more than your neighbor for the same product, including at grocery stores. John Benavali-Rao explains.
An algorithm decided who pays more.
In a video posted by Ontario New Democrats, the party's leader lays out why consumers should be worried about the potential for retailers to use personal data to set the price each shopper sees for a product. Today, again calling for the practice to be banned before it becomes a problem.
Why should a secret algorithm decide how much you pay for eggs?
It's called surveillance pricing, though another term you'll see is algorithmic personalized pricing, and many consumers are leery of it.
It seems very unfair.
Definitely shocking, but not surprising, I would say.
I understand, from a business standpoint, why they would want to do something like that.
What happens is companies use data gathered from your digital footprint, such as where you live, browsing history, the type of device you're on, and your typical spending habits. And then an algorithm figures out the maximum price you'd likely pay. What it means is that two people on the same site at the same time can see different prices for the same item.
And they're doing this to try and extract the most possible value they can from each consumer.
And some think eventually the data could include when you get paid.
Firms might eventually be able to raise prices when they know that it's payday to get you to pay a higher price.
Already the cost of things like ride shares, airline tickets, and hotels can change based on timing and location, what's called dynamic pricing. Surveillance pricing is more personalized. How prevalent it is in Canada is unclear. But in December, Consumer Reports found in the U.S., Instacart was involved in AI-driven pricing experiments where shoppers did see different prices for the same grocery items at the same time.
The government should ban surveillance pricing.
The federal NDP this week introduced a motion to ban the practice, though MPs voted it down. And it follows a push by Manitoba's NDP government to make such pricing illegal. Several U.S. states are also looking to impose bans, including Maryland. The Competition Bureau has looked at the issue and says consumers have expressed concerns about a lack of transparency.
From a consumer perspective, a lot of discomfort about not knowing how that price was arrived at, what kind of personal data the company was using.
As for Ontario's premier, he says the province will not be implementing a ban, while New Democrats here plan to bring it to a vote on Monday. John Benavali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
A free legal clinic is taking place this weekend. Anyone from across the province can call in to the confidential service. The free legal advice is being offered by volunteer lawyers and notaries. They can help on a wide range of topics, including immigration, family, and criminal law.
It's very important to us. Accessibility to legal services is a really big part of what we do at the Young Bar. Also, we usually have between 2,000, 3,000 calls every weekend when we do this. So we see that there is a need. People are looking for information. I think they're looking also to have an easy link with a lawyer without having to jump through many hoops or anything like that. So I think they like the fact that they can simply call and have access to a lawyer. There can be a bit of a wait time, so I want to make sure that people are informed of that.
The number for the clinic is 1-844-779-6232. The phone lines are open again on Sunday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. More information is available on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. We turn now to the war in the Middle East, a day after the Strait of Hormuz reopened, allowing the world to breathe a sigh of relief. The key oil shipping corridor is once again closed, Iran saying it's tightening its control over the narrow channel. Kamal Karamali reports.
Tankers in the Strait of Hormuz back to sitting idle, just one day after it was reopened. Satellite images now show ships being turned around, with Iranian forces even firing at a couple of tankers, according to maritime authorities. Iran says it has taken back strict control over the key oil shipping corridor, saying it holds the advantage and blaming the U.S. for blocking Iranian ports. The U.S. president said that will continue until a deal is reached to end the war.
We're talking to them. They wanted to close up the strait again, as they've been doing for years, and they can't blackmail us. They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years.
Iran says it's reviewing a new U.S. proposal delivered through Pakistani mediators.
This could even upend the fragile ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. So right now, this is looking more and more like a powder keg.
Shaky ceasefire in southern Lebanon between Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel has been holding since Friday, allowing tens of thousands of cautious Lebanese residents to return to their villages, only to find homes destroyed. And Iran's deputy foreign minister saying today that no date has been set yet for the next round of negotiations. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
An Earth Day celebration was held today, a little ahead of schedule. Several community groups gathered at Place des Festivals. They say they hope to remind people about the importance of nature. The gathering included a fair with a puppet show, booths, and a march. Organizers are calling on government to stop cutting environmental regulations.
We have a discourse in the political sphere this year that's very centered around economic growth, the importance of reinforcing the economy in the face of geopolitical uncertainty. And of course, we need to think about how we're readjusting our economy in the face of U.S. threats. But backpedaling on our climate agreements, bringing back fossil fuel projects is not the way forward.
Earth Day is this Wednesday. Well, the Stanley Cup playoffs are now underway, and with that comes the news that the NHL set a league-wide attendance record with more than 23 million people in the stands at games this season, and the Canadiens led the league.
Suzuki, a step, Caulfield, in, Risha, score! Magic at the Bell Center!
The Habs sold out every game at the Bell Center. Fans from cities across the country were asked what Canadian team they will cheer for during the NHL playoffs.
Go Oilers, honestly. Connor McDavid, he's the greatest hockey player currently.
Well, I guess Senators would be closest to here, yeah?
The Oilers.
Why?
Because they are in Canada.
Montreal Canadiens.
Why?
I've been cheering for them for almost 50 years.
I don't know, the Oilers? Edmonton? Yeah, probably.
Montreal. Montreal's my team this year. I want them to go all the way.
An Angus Reid poll says 45% of Canadians are cheering for Montreal, with Edmonton at 34 and Ottawa at 15. And coming up, we talk to Craig Button from TSN about the Canadiens and Lightning first-round series. The Quebec government is monitoring flood conditions in many parts of the province. Most areas are reporting minor flooding so far, but that could change tomorrow with rain expected overnight. Kimberly Johnson reports on residents getting ready in western Quebec along the Ottawa River.
Normally it sticks to the one side, but this year, like I said, it's coming in so fast, and with all the rain, it's finding any hole.
Jason Rockburn's sub pump is working overtime, and another one is on hand as water levels creep up in his region of Pontiac, Quebec.
Every year we do have water down here, but not to this extent. It's rising much faster than usual.
Rockburn's basement is a glimpse of the effect of rising water levels along the Ottawa River. For him and his neighbors, officials say the water levels here in Queant and the Pontiac are currently holding steady. But in other parts of western Quebec, residents are bracing for potentially serious flooding.
Basically all the rain that we've had in the past week, and because of the snow melting pretty quick, the water up north is still coming down, so there's more to expect.
However, in Gatineau, officials are warning the water could reach 2023 flood levels by Sunday.
What we have seen is that the level of water has increased in the past few hours, in the past day.
The city says 33 streets and 119 buildings could be affected by flooding in the coming days. In Aylmer, Hull, Gatineau, and Masson-Angers. Gatineau's mayor says firefighters will be on hand for those affected.
They will be going door to door. They will knock to doors, leave information if people are not there, to make sure that people that are concerned by this level of water are informed of the situation.
Back in the Pontiac, officials continue to monitor the situation. The municipality is providing sandbags for residents should they need it. But the mayor says that a major focus during flooding is on roads.
We just keep an eye on everybody. You know, like every association, they got a guy in charge. They're the one who can contact us anytime they need it. And in the meantime, my inspectors goes around and check things up.
This is a region that has seen major flooding in the past. Residents say they are prepared.
With this weather today, if it could keep up, that'd be nice.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
After the break, clearing the air.
It was looked at as if I was trying to debate again the president, which is not in my interest at all.
Pope Leo sets the record straight on his feud with Donald Trump. And it's the end of the road for a century-old Montreal business. More than 24 tornadoes have touched down across parts of the U.S. Midwest, and millions of people are on alert. Michelle Franzen reports.
A powerful spring storm pounding the heartland. At least 28 tornadoes confirmed across 9 states, with more than 35 million people under alerts. From Texas to Wisconsin, tornadoes touching down, baseball-size hail, and flash flooding, homes damaged and roadways washed out. Along with massive destructive hail and straight-line winds, days of rain forcing rivers to rise far beyond their banks. Take a look at this video showing the moment a tornado tore through Clinton, Missouri. Debris flying as the storms move through. In Bedford, Ohio, right outside Cleveland, this car dealership now cleaning up from tornadoes and pounding hail.
Just absolute anarchy is really all I can say. It was almost scary, to be honest with you.
And the flood threat continuing to grow. Near Grand Rapids, Michigan, crews pulling a car from a sinkhole after a road gave way. Just west of Rockford, Illinois, reports of children trapped at a school in the town of Lena after a reported tornado there. And overnight, heavy rain moving into areas of Wisconsin and Michigan, still dealing with flooding, raising the risk of additional water levels as the system lingers. Michelle Franzen, ABC News, New York.
Time magazine has named Prime Minister Mark Carney in its 100 most influential people of 2026. The list was released earlier this week. Carney is just one of 24 people in the list's leaders section. Carney has been riding a wave of spotlight in the international stage since becoming Prime Minister last year. His Davos speech at the World Economic Forum earlier this year placed Canada in the center of attempts to move away from American dependency. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says Ottawa has hinted it wants to see liquefied natural gas shipping out of Churchill by 2030. If not, federal support for an expansion of a port in the community could be off the table. Kinew met with Prime Minister Mark Carney this week in Ottawa to discuss a plan to expand the port of Churchill as part of a trade corridor through northern Manitoba. The Premier says Carney presented an aggressive timeline of getting liquefied natural gas flowing out of the town within the next 4 years. However, major improvements to rail, port, and other infrastructure would be needed. Pope Leo is opening the third leg of his 4-nation trip through Africa en route to Angola. He commented on his back and forth with U.S. President Donald Trump over the Iran war. Melissa Adan reports.
Pope Leo visiting us reporters on the papal plane while we headed here to Angola, and it was an unprecedented moment when Pope Leo brought up President Donald Trump's name.
The talk that I gave at the prayer meeting for peace a couple days ago was prepared 2 weeks ago, well before the president ever commented on myself and on the message of peace that I am promoting. And yet as it happens, it was looked at as if I was trying to debate again the president, which is not my interest at all.
It was an unprompted moment, but Pope Leo told us reporters that he wanted to clear up a, quote, certain narrative that has not been accurate about his comments and speeches that he has made during his papal tour through Africa, which has prompted President Trump to attack him in social media posts. Pope Leo has been outspoken about his opposition to the war in Iran, and he has not named Trump in his speeches or homilies throughout Africa. He has, however, called on leaders to stop the violence worldwide. Well, Pope Leo telling us that he will continue to spread the message of the gospel as he continues on with his historic papal trip across Africa. Pope Leo is now in Angola, where about half of the population are Catholics. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Angola.
A hardware store on the plateau is shutting down more than a century after it opened. Business is still good, the owner says, but finding a new generation to take over became too much trouble. Stéphane Giroux reports.
When Geraldo Morasco first stepped foot into the Jean Hébert hardware store in 1983, it wasn't meant to be more than a summer job.
Absolutely nothing. So it was my father that didn't want me to stay home during the summer, so he asked the owner to come for a job, and I eventually got one.
Morasco stayed on for 43 years and even bought the business 25 years ago from the family of founder Jean Hébert. The hardware store opened in 1917 when Mont-Royal was a far different neighborhood. French-Canadian bourgeoisie dominated the area before becoming working class again and resurrecting under gentrification.
It was really exciting with the people, the customers. We had fun, to help our customers do their projects and all this. I loved it. I loved it.
But at age 63, Morasco has had enough. He's shutting down. Business remains good, but says things changed after COVID. Finding reliable staff became an insurmountable task.
I think the staff, from what I've seen with the pandemic, must have changed something because they don't want to work anymore. They don't want to do hours. They don't want to work weekends. They don't want to work nights. If they want to work, it's with a big salary, but do the least amount of work.
That leaves him with a single employee and way too much work for his age.
Now, 50 hours a week, standing up, without sitting 50 hours standing up 6 days a week.
And it's not like Morasco didn't try selling his business.
Once the financing, the banks, they're a bit tough on lending money. Most of them wanted me to finance a portion of it, which I was not interested. And some of them, they found there was too much work.
For Morasco, it seems the work ethics of a new generation are simply no match for what his little business built over a century, and something he alone cannot fix. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
Let's have a look at weather now. What a beautiful day it was. 19 degrees right now in Montreal. Similar temps being felt in Sherbrooke and in Quebec City. It will cool off tomorrow, though. 7 degrees in the morning and rain is expected. It will be cloudy for most of the day with a mix of sun and clouds in the evening. It's going to be a cooler start to the week. Monday we'll see a high of 3 degrees, but then it will warm up. We'll have highs in the teens Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're expecting a mix of sun and clouds on all 3 of those days. After the break, Habs and Lightning play Game 1 tomorrow. Can the Canadians win? We speak with Craig Button from TSN. And the building has begun. There will be a replica of the Artemis II Orion capsule.
Tonight, uncertainty grips the Strait of Hormuz.
Both sides are sort of preparing themselves for round 2.
The new threat from Iran in the fight to maintain control of the critical shipping lane. Later on CTV National News and Watch on Crave.
It's that time of the year. The Montreal Canadiens are back in the playoffs. They face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it all kicks off tomorrow in Tampa. Joining us now to talk more about the Habs is Craig Button from TSN. Hi, Craig. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure. Exciting times in Montreal. The Habs are on fire, and there's lots of excitement.
Yeah, we love it, too. For the Canadiens, tell us, what's going to be the biggest challenge you think against Tampa?
I think that at the outset of the playoffs, Noah Dobson, Alexander Carrier, unavailable, not at full health, that really puts a stress on the blue line. It puts a stress specifically on the right side of that blue line. And we know how important Noah Dobson has been. So you might be able to play if you're Noah Dobson, but are you going to be able to do the things that you do really well with the puck handling, all the things that are so important? And I think that that's the early part that they have to overcome. The other part that they're going to have to really look at it early on in this series is establishing that there's nothing easy for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They create enough advantages for themselves without giving them anything. So the resistance that the Montreal Canadiens showed in the past 2 games they played against Tampa, one in Tampa, one in Montreal, that's to me, the template. That's got to be the plan that you go into with, because this is a highly explosive offensive team in Tampa, and you don't want to give them anything for free.
What's your expectation for this series?
Well, I think Montreal, the high end of their offensive ability, their belief in themselves, and what they've done over the last, I guess, call it post-Olympics, they've really shown that they can beat anybody anywhere. And when you show that, it's one thing. But when you convince yourselves of what you're capable of doing, that becomes something that's galvanizing. And I think for the Montreal Canadiens, last year they're going to the playoffs. They're not sure about the playoffs. The Washington Capitals throw a lot at them. But that experience from last year, the success they've had post-Olympics this year, and it's not just post-Olympics, it's really a full season, but now you can understand, hey, listen, it can get a little bumpy, and the playoffs do get bumpy, but we can get back on level ground. We can get ourselves stabilized, and we can get back into situations and play our game. When they're attacking and they're really pushing the pace, they give any team they're going to play a real difficult time. So when I look at it, I said at the outset, I thought that this was as close to a pick'em series as you might have in a first-round matchup. I mean, the points are similar. A lot of the things that you look for in trying to determine who might have the edge, who doesn't have the edge. For Tampa Bay, their high-end experience, and we're talking Vasilevsky, we're talking Kucherov and Point and Hagel and Cirelli. It's so good, and that is something that is still really prevalent for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and certainly they're going to find a comfort in it. If Montreal did any disservice to themselves, they might have served notice to the Tampa Bay Lightning in their last 2 games, both victories by Montreal, that they are a team to be taken seriously. You better take them seriously, and you're not going to sneak up on Tampa Bay. So being really effective in terms of not giving Tampa Bay anything, I think gives Montreal a chance in the series. It's a chance, and that's all you want in a playoff series. This isn't lopsided in Tampa Bay's favor or lopsided in Montreal's favor. So you try to win it on the margins, try to win where you think you can get them a little bit uncomfortable and make sure that you get the great goaltending that they've got from Jakub Dobeš, because the way he's played, I don't think there's any concerns in the net.
How much of a factor do you think goaltending will be in this series?
Well, I mean, Vasilevsky's been there, done that, won that. And I think that that's really important. But Jakub Dobeš, last year, getting a few games in the playoffs, and then what he's gone through this year, and he started out really well, then he hit some speed bumps, so to speak, and then he found his way. I mean, he's been excellent. When you start to look at all the metrics and all the underlying numbers, Jakub Dobeš has been as good as anybody post-Olympics, and a big part of the success of the Montreal Canadiens post-Olympics has been because he has been so good. I really believe come playoff time, all you want is for your goaltender to do what he's capable of doing. Yeah, there's going to be times when you need him to make that big save. You need him to, give you a chance when it feels like the tables have turned on you. It might be feeling a little bit lopsided. But all in all, if you're going to keep relying on your goaltender to bail yourself out of your own problems, that's not a recipe. So again, I go back to the defensive play. I go back to not giving anything away for free to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I think Jakub Dobeš can do the job. We know Vasilevsky can do the job, but I don't think Jakub Dobeš has to take a back seat to Vasilevsky in this series.
Yeah, we'll get some pretty important answers starting tomorrow. It's an exciting time in the city. Craig, thanks so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Well, sharing too much online can be dangerous, but often we don't even know we're doing it. Now, help from some students at The Study in Westmount. They've developed an app that flags those risks before we post. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
Smile. It's a perfectly ordinary photo of these teenage girls, but watch what happens when it goes through their app.
This image has a lot of risks.
Something you probably didn't even notice. The students have their school crest on their uniforms, and that small detail can be used by strangers online to figure out where they are. So the girls came up with a solution, an app called Safe Trace. Zinyi Zhang is the co-creator.
The AI analyzes potential risks and personal information that can be revealed from the image.
Built by these 5 students at The Study, the app doesn't just flag the risks, it fixes them too. Using AI, it scans the pictures and alerts users to anything that could reveal locations or personal information. From there, it's up to the user to decide what they want to remove. And in seconds, the app provides the safe version of the photo.
Say you have a public account and you upload it, people can dox you because they can use this address and say, oh, you live on this street, you live in this city.
The students created the app as a way to prevent anyone from being a victim of doxing, which is the malicious act of sharing someone's private information online. According to the government of Canada, women are more often targeted than men, and 1 in 3 young women have experienced some form of online harassment. Amalia Leogis is the director of IT.
My hope is that we can show that young girls can change the world.
A free app made by these students to keep all women safe. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
The SAQ will not be providing free boxes for wine and spirits anymore as of August. The Crown Corporation says it needs to save money, and by stopping to provide free boxes, it will save $1 million a year. That's because it will no longer have to pay to have unused boxes recycled. The change will kick in on August 1st. Members of the Beckham family are opening up in a new interview. Victoria Beckham is talking about the ongoing estrangement with her son, Brooklyn. Here's Morgan Norwood.
This morning, Victoria Beckham is speaking out as the very public rift and estrangement from her oldest son, Brooklyn, continues to unfold. In a new interview with the Wall Street Journal, the fashion designer and former Spice Girl, carefully avoiding her son by name, saying, quote, "We love our children so much. We've always tried to be the best parents that we can be." Adding that after more than 30 years in the public eye, all she and her husband, David Beckham, have tried to do is, quote, "protect our children and love our children." The tension between the Beckhams and their oldest child building for years. Rumors starting around Brooklyn's 2022 wedding to actress Nicola Peltz, when Nicola did not wear a Victoria Beckham design down the aisle. Then last year, Brooklyn and Nicola reportedly absent from some major family events, including David Beckham's 50th birthday. The breaking point coming into public view in January of this year, when Brooklyn posted a lengthy statement to Instagram accusing his parents of controlling narratives in the press, attempting to undermine his relationship, and describing what he called endless attacks, adding that he has no intentions to reconcile. Research shows about 1 in 4 American adults is estranged from a parent. Experts say reconciliation is possible, but it isn't easy and doesn't happen overnight.
I think it's a natural progression that when kids get to adulthood, that they should have more control of their lives and more say, and parents do need to back up and let their kids have more say and control. But it can be harder to kind of have those conversations or give up control when there's been a lot of pain in their history.
Just ahead, we meet the robot who's helping out and taking the internet by storm.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news.
We go back to the situation in the Middle East and a frantic communication from a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz under attack by Iran. The attack comes a day after the waterway was reopened. Selena Wang reports.
Today, Iran reversed course on reopening the Strait of Hormuz and fired on at least 2 vessels trying to pass through the waterway. A UK maritime monitoring agency says one target was an oil tanker attacked by 2 Iranian gunboats. In audio obtained by tankertrackers.com, the tanker making a frantic distress call to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Navy.
Sepa Navy. This is Motor Engestan Marhedal. You gave me clearance to go. You are fighting now. Let me turn back.
And Iran says it will keep blocking traffic through the strait as long as the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect.
American side tweets a lot, talks a lot, sometimes confusing, sometimes, contradictory.
Got a little cute.
President Trump today acknowledging Iran's actions, but adamant the U.S. blockade stopping all shipping in and out of Iranian ports will stay in place until there's a deal to end the war.
They wanted to close up the strait again, as they've been doing for years, and they can't blackmail us.
President also claiming Iran has agreed to give up their enriched uranium and work with the U.S. to bring the material back to the U.S.
We're going to get it by going in with Iran, with lots of excavators.
But Iran flatly rejects that.
I can tell you that no enriched material is going to be shipped to United States. We are not going to accept things that they are non-starter.
Tonight, Iran says it's reviewing new peace plan proposals from the United States conveyed during the visit of the Pakistani army chief to Tehran, who's acting as an intermediary in efforts to revive negotiations. Selena Wang, ABC News, the White House.
The lawyer for an Ontario man accused of selling lethal substances online to people who later took their own lives says murder charges will be withdrawn against his client. Kenneth Law will plead guilty to aiding suicide. Law was set to face trial this month, where he faced 14 counts of first-degree murder and 14 counts of aiding suicide. Now a date for a plea hearing is expected to be set during a court appearance on Monday. Police have alleged that Law ran several websites that were used to sell sodium nitrite and other items. He was charged in the deaths of 14 people between the ages of 16 and 36. Scientists and police in BC are partnering on a new chemical fingerprinting program for illicit drugs, an approach officials say could be a game changer. Dimitra Maragos has the story.
This robot is a game changer for police. It's analyzing and deconstructing illicit drugs.
This initiative is about improving our awareness of what is circulating in that drug supply and doing so earlier.
It's part of a provincially funded program already in action, using technology created at UBC by Eidos Innovations.
I actually compare it to the advent of DNA when it first emerged.
It allows investigators to track how illegal substances circulate throughout the province with the help of AI.
Track and trace doesn't just identify drugs in a sample. It allows us to look backwards to understand how they were produced in the first place. And it allows us to look forward to anticipate how they may move across communities over time.
The instrument seen here will test the drugs for impurities.
We end up with the sample now ready to go for the analysis of these files.
Victoria Police are part of the pilot. The department chief says the results will be available on a dashboard for investigators. For the time being, this technology will not be used for criminal investigations.
This initiative is not about tracking individuals, and it is not about criminalizing people who use drugs. This work is focused on understanding the supply, reducing risk, and improving safety for everyone in our communities.
The province says this announcement is timely as we mark 10 years since the toxic drug crisis was declared a public health emergency.
A decade after being declared a public health emergency, this crisis persists, and our government remains deeply committed to doing everything possible to save lives and hold those responsible to account.
Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Technology has changed how farmers grow and harvest food. Artificial intelligence could lead to more significant changes. Jack Morse explains.
Hey, Ben Ben. I'm here. Shake hands. As you wish.
Aww. That's the unitary quadruped robot called a dog robot. It could be used to inspect crops and support farmers in the field.
We can see the farmers' life is getting easier, so they can spend the valuable time with their families.
It's just one piece of advanced tech that's changing how farmers work.
It's very interesting the way things are going. I'm very excited.
Farmers gathered in Innisfil today for a look at this cutting-edge tech.
I'm very impressed not only with the technology, but with the acceptance of the technology in our agricultural industry, and just doing more and more and more each year, and doing it efficiently and effectively to feed us.
Robots like this one can be used for general help around the farm, but there are more specialized machines too. These heavy-duty drones can be used for things like precision pesticide spraying.
More coverage of the crops. There's more of a efficiency. Rather than taking out a tractor in the field, you're able to just fly over and spray, and it's very precise.
When used correctly, machines like the ones on display here today can give time back to the farmer, making a job known for long hours and hard work just a little bit easier.
There was the old saying, you would be able to just sit there and push a button and have everything done for you. Well, guess what? That's going to be a reality, and it is a reality.
But it's more than just saving labor. More efficient growing means more food, cheaper. Jack Morse, CTV News.
It seems robots may also help to herd animals. In this video, a robot in Poland can be seen chasing away a small herd of wild boars and yelling, "Go away," in Polish. The robot's name is Edward, and it's equipped with AI technology and has actually become an internet personality in Poland. The Artemis II mission may have concluded last week, but there's still a lot of interest. The Royal Aviation Museum of Western Canada in Winnipeg will build a walk-in replica of the spacecraft crew capsule. John Hendricks has more.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. What was one small step for NASA's Artemis II mission is going to become a giant leap for the Royal Aviation Museum of Western Canada. A team of volunteers has started building a full-scale replica of the Orion spacecraft crew capsule, the same one that the Artemis II mission just used to travel around the moon and back again.
We're starting from scratch here, so and that's the fun part. I mean, it's a DIY at somebody else's expense.
And this project is going to require a lot of creativity.
What is that?
74.
74.
That's right.
Unlike model kits, NASA hasn't publicized instructions on how to build a replica of an Orion capsule. But the crew building it here has retired engineers and former members of the Canadian Air Force.
Where are we getting our source of information? It's basically internet. You get pictures, you get a little bit of sketching, but it's really, really bare bones.
One thing that is very public is the general size of the Orion capsule. It's actually quite small, roughly the size of 2 minivans. Not a lot of room for sensitive scientific equipment and 4 astronauts.
I didn't think we would get as exceptionally good at crawling all over each other for 10 days, but we did get good at that too. It's tight up there.
The Aviation Museum's capsule will be a little bigger. Big enough for everyone to move around in.
You'll understand the shape, the size, the constraints, as you can see inside the shell, and you'll get a good idea of what it is inside.
And you'll be able to go inside more than once.
This one is going to be here to stay.
A new permanent exhibit about the new chapter of space exploration. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Well, after firing their manager less than a week ago, CF Montreal was back on the pitch against the New York Red Bulls. CF Montreal jumping out to an early lead. Victor Loturi makes it 1-0 in the 5th minute. Towards the end of the first half, Prince Owusu scores on a penalty kick to make it 2-0. In the 49th minute, CF Montreal's Matty Longstaff puts Montreal up 3-0. The Red Bulls would score less than 10 minutes later to make it a 3-1 match, but Montreal would add one more goal to seal the victory and come away with a 4-1 win. A pride celebration featuring Quebec singer Safia Nolin set the table for the Montreal victoire against the Boston Fleet last night in Laval.
De Montréal qui pousse derrière le filet de Lévis. Et du bout du bâton, le but!
Jade Downey Landry of the Victoire got one past Boston's Abby Levy at just under 3 minutes into the first to put Montreal on the board. And then Caitlin Willoughby added to the hometown happiness with another goal at 6 minutes in. But at almost the end of the second period, the Fleet's Jessie Eldridge got one past Anne-Renée Desbiens to make it a 2-1 contest. And then Daniela Pedjasova made it 2-2 with another past Desbiens. That put the game into overtime in just 37 seconds in. Nicole Gosling put one in on a power play. The Victoire take this one 3-2. Well, if you have a lot of money lying around, you could purchase a stunning castle on the island of Montreal. The Chateau Bois de la Roche in Senneville stands on its own private peninsula since 1899. More than a century later, the 18,000 square foot stone castle has 8 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, 12 fireplaces, an indoor pool, and panoramic water views. The asking price is $21.6 million. Taking a final look at the forecast now. Really felt like summer out there today. 19 degrees right now in Montreal. It's also 19 in Sherbrooke and 18 degrees in Quebec City. Colder temperatures tomorrow, though. 7 degrees for your wake up with showers expected. It's going to be cloudy into the evening, but we're expecting a mix of sun and clouds late in the day. We'll have colder temps to start the week. Monday we'll see a high of 3 degrees, but then we'll have highs in the teens Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with a mix of sun and clouds on all 3 days. And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening. We'll see you at 11:30.